Lots of cool stuff happening at NAB here in Las Vegas 2016. We've got our first workshop coming on April 30th here in Los Angeles. We're going to teach you how to shoot on location in anything from direct sun and harsh light to very soft and filled light. Join you to end up our day with some fabulous editing tips that'll help take those images and really set them apart. Go to theslantlens.com and sign up today. It's a very limited group, so you better get over there. Hi, this is JP Morgan.
And Lars Lindstrom.
And it's time for Photo Video Trends.
In Las Vegas. NAB.
NAB. We're here at NAB. We're here at NAB in the famous time in the morning when they vacuum all the booths. It's the vacuuming time.
It's a nice, if you're wondering what that weird high-pitched hum from your computer speakers is.
It's a drone.
It's a drone.
That's what it is.
We're in the drone
pavilion. It's a large drone in the background.
Yes, of course.
So hey, we're here in the SKB booth. They're nice enough to let us shoot our show this morning in their booth. Those guys at SKB are great guys. Yep. Got great equipment as well, great cases, several things. I was just looking at the GoPro cases yesterday. Absolutely love the different GoPro cases. They have an insert so you can put your kind of accessories in the bottom and the GoPros on the top.
Okay.
They're really nice cases. But anyway, great cases from SKB. You know how much we love them. So let's get started. So what's happening at NAB that's so exciting?
Not much, honestly.
That was my impression yesterday. I walked around an entire day and I'm going,
it was like deja vu from last year.
Yeah.
It was like, hey everybody, remember that really cool thing from last year? It's like, yeah, I remember. It's like, well, we still have it.
It's still there.
It's just starting to ship now, and we've written new software for it. It's pretty much is like what I'm getting from just about everybody. I mean, like your large camera manufacturers. We got Blackmagic Design, no new cameras. Red, no new cameras.
We're still trying to get the Ursa out and going.
The Ursa Mini. So they rewrote the software for the Ursa Mini. And actually, I think all of their cameras. And the software is cool. I mean, they got a lot of features in there, like tint control, which they never had. A lot of key things that were missing, a lot of crashing. They've tried to resolve a lot of that. Some people were complaining about Ursa Mini's bricking. That apparently is not an issue anymore. But we'll have to see. Anyway, but all their new products that they announced are shipping today.
They are?
Mm-hmm, which is pretty good. So, I mean, that's like, they learned their lesson from last year, I think, where they overpromised and
and then a year later it's not out. So
yeah. Exactly.
Well, I had that same. I was talking to one person. He goes, "We got this new item." I won't say who it was.
Okay.
And I go like, "Well, hasn't it been around for a while?" He goes,
"Yeah."
Well, it's kind of a reintroduction, you know. I'm thinking to myself, okay, yeah. So
that's not new at all.
Not new at all. But I think what's going on out there is people are a little cautious. I think there's an economic issue going here on some level.
You think so?
I think so. I think they're just a little cautious about trying to R&D and get new stuff out there. And the one thing I have noticed is there are a million drone companies here. Companies I've never heard of.
Well,
it's like came out of nowhere.
And I feel like NAB's also like upgraded the drone pavilion to a degree that I haven't seen before. Right. So now you've got like an amphitheater basically, where different drone companies can come and fly their product, and they have a speaker system, and there's like, I mean, I'm looking around me. There's probably a dozen drone companies.
At least.
Just like within earshot.
Yeah.
Literally.
So literally. So I mean, the drone industry is interesting. I didn't see anything out. I mean, I see these huge drones that are flying, Reds and the Alexa. I mean, I'm seeing that.
Yeah.
Absolutely here. But there's also a ton of small stuff out there, that are for smaller cameras. So I don't know.
I haven't seen anything new. That's I think the point is that there's all these new drone manufacturing companies, and there's lots of like interesting looking drones, but they all look the same. They all do follow me. They all do wireless streaming to your iPhone. It's just like, so everything that was new last year that was really groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Now there's just a dozen of those companies, and they all do the same thing. So.
Although I did see, and I think it was a Zeiss booth, and I hope if I get this right, they got a virtual reality thing for their drones, so that you're seeing with your phone, you slide your phone on the virtual reality, and you're seeing what the drone camera is seeing.
That's cool.
And you can switch it back and forth from the view of the drone to the view of looking at the drone. Because I asked him, I go, well, if I'm looking at what the drone's seeing, how do I know if I'm going to run into something?
I'm going backwards.
Yeah. How do you know?
Really pretty beach, and then I run into a cliff.
Whack, yeah. So, but anyway, it was cool to look at, though. I mean, it worked. So was it Zeiss? Was that?
Zeiss did have a virtual reality piece,
I thought that was interesting.
There's also, I mean, the Phantom 4 kind of redid a little bit of their, but that's like old news. The Phantom 4's been out for a little while.
Yeah, it's been out for
a
while.
But I mean, they avoid. Uh-oh. Are we?
Oh. All the SKB guys just showed up.
What are we supposed to do now?
I'm going to say hi. So these are all the guys at SKB.
Yeah.
This is Jerry, and this is Will, and this is
Kenny.
Kenny I've not
all
met
right.
yet. So there you go. How you doing, Kenny? Kenny's a great guy. We've known each other for a long time.
Oh, yeah. It goes way back.
Like 3 seconds.
5 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's great to see you guys. It's great to be here.
See you guys. Yeah. See you later. You guys gonna go get leave for a little bit? So
Yeah,
we can
we're-
finish it?
Yeah.
Treasure this time we've got.
All right.
All right.
I did see some things that are interesting to me. I thought Tiffen has some new, and I was thinking about this in my quest for the new 4K camera.
Okay.
If I were to go with the Sony FS7, I would put a black satin or a quarter on it to just soften
up that
just
digital
a
sense a little
bit. Not a lot. I mean, a quarter maybe.
I feel like that's what Alexa did, and it's brought them so much success, right?
I think
Is that
that's what it
there is a
needs.
softness to their
Yeah.
highlights that people really enjoy. So
Well, Tiffen has a series of filters out that are new to them. It's a combination of like their pearlescent and their black satin. They've combined the black satin into some of those other diffusions, and they're really pretty.
yeah,
And when you look at them, if you put a full one stop on, or full one, I guess they call it.
yeah,
it's
like
too much.
quarter, half, one,
yeah, it's
two.
just too much. But if you go to quarter, it's really pretty.
Yeah,
It's really pretty. But they also have a new ring that's going to be coming out here in the next little while. It's a ring that goes on with just your twist mount, but it holds your square filters. You can hold 2 of them.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's just so nice. So you can twist that onto any
So
twist
it's like a
mount.
matte box.
It's a small mat, like you can
Just
put 2
right
in
in front of the
quarter.
lens.
Right in front of the lens, you can stack 2 in it.
Oh man, that's great.
And
I
you
was
can
just
turn it-
I've been hoping for something like that.
I think from Tiffen that's going to be a great item, and it's not going to be super expensive. It's just a
Yeah.
snap-on on the front of your lens, you know.
Yeah.
So I thought from Tiffen that was a great item.
That's
So,
awesome. Great, good on them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've seen a lot. I mean, Litemat had these really low-profile LED lights, and they had last year. But what I'm seeing is that everybody's coming out with these LEDs this year.
Drones and LEDs. There's a ton of LED people here.
Man, and the thing I'm noticing is that we've finally gotten to the point where all these Chinese manufacturers or different people that maybe didn't have the best color or the best brightness are now up to par with everybody else. So I mean, it's not new technology. It's been around for 2 or 3 years. Good technology, but now everybody else is saying, okay, we figured this out too. What I really like about it is it's this matte technology, right? So it's just like these really thin, super lightweight LEDs, and you can just expand them. You just plug a little cable in, and you can make it an
big bank.
8x8 thing,
Oh,
a
that's
bank
so
of
fascinating.
soft LED light,
Yeah.
and it's super light. I mean, I could pick up an 8x8 and walk around with it.
That's
I mean,
incredible.
It's like a big sail.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you know, you're still limited. But like a 2x4 foot SoftBank is like 3 or 4 pounds. I mean, it's just nothing, man.
That's
it's
the
like,
whole thing. Weight is the issue, you know.
Yeah.
Lighter and TVs have gone that way. You know, you get thin and light, so
Yeah.
the LED. Anyway, although I talked to one manufacturer, and he goes, you know what? LEDs have kind of hit their. Right now, he feels like they've hit their peak.
But
And
what's gonna?
You got to innovate something for it to move forward. Well, as far as power and power is, I think, kind of what he was talking about.
These, if you've checked out the Neela lights, Neela?
Didn't see him.
It's they're basically, their idea is let's start with the punchiest LED possible. So it's got a very, very strong throw, and it's like a par basically. It's just a par can, which is like a hard beam. And then from there you can modify it. You
That's
can
a
put
nice
it in a
thought.
softbox. But I mean, their 200 watt battery operated Neela boxer is like they say it's an 800 HMI equivalent, and it could possibly be more than a 1200 more like a 1200. 1.2K HMI. So that's power, and especially from a battery. Think about that for a second.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, the guys at Rosco, I was looking at which vector lights we're using to light right here.
Yeah.
They did a video, and they knocked one over off a stand.
Okay.
You know, the little knob popped off the back to stick it back on.
Yeah.
They drug it behind the car.
Oh my gosh.
They eventually ran over it with the car.
What?
And it still worked.
You're kidding.
It was broken a little bit on the corners, put a little tape on it, and it worked fine.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, so what you get in there is that they are a little heavier, but they are indestructible. And that means something to
It
me.
does, because I have LED lights, and they're breaking.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's why I love the Rosco stuff. I mean, it lasts forever. Anyway.
Yeah.
But everyone knows the Silk 210 is my favorite light.
Yeah. No, and there's a reason for it. It's
well,
amazing.
You can't have a favorite light. It's not like one light will do everything on set.
Yeah, but it'll do a lot.
But it'll do a lot.
Yeah. If you try to think of like your favorite key light, that might be the quick, easy solution, right? You
Quick,
just come in with that, and
you don't have to throw softbox on it. It's just
if you want it to
really
be a larger
soft.
source, put a little 4x in front of it, and
absolutely.
yeah, but that's great.
I wanted to mention Edelchrome.
Yeah,
those guys come up with the most interesting things.
Weird.
It's
dude.
weird. It's
like
so
weird.
This scissor. You know the thing you used to pull out the wall with a mirror on it? It's a tripod like that. You kind of lift it up. There's no moving parts. Well, it's all moving parts.
And it's, I want to know how precise it is, right? So if I go, okay, here's my camera, I want it to be right here, and it just like locks in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, that's my shot. But basically, you just like, it's like this little suitcase thing, and you just pick it up.
But the tripod goes flat. It's easy to move around.
I'm gonna go play with it later today.
I'm really curious. And
it's funny looking because I saw it and I just thought, what the heck?
But those guys are thinking outside the box all the time.
Yeah.
You get a slider that has 2 rails. Was one of the first things they did a long time ago. So that first rail, second rail. So you can, in a smaller platform, it can go out a lot further. So they're. It's smart stuff. It is
smart. It is smart. And they have innovative follow focus and different solutions for that too.
Now, did you see the thing over at DJI? The little handheld
gimbal guy?
Gimbal, yeah.
You were talking to me about it last night.
It's called the Osmo Raw.
Okay.
I think Osmo Raw is the gimbal. So it's just a handheld gimbal that has their C5R camera on it. And it's a small little camera.
Yeah.
But it's a micro four thirds. Yeah. And they're saying, man, this is the greatest thing ever. It's a handheld, gimbal. I'm looking at it going, can I put my A7R2 on there?
It's like, no.
No,
that's it.
Can't.
That's the thing. Is it like it's so proprietary. It's limited, right? So it's their sound, it's their lens, it's their camera. There's no control.
He didn't say the sound was great. He said sound's not great.
Okay.
But you're not going to use that for sound anyway. You're going to be pulling sound from somewhere else.
I guess, but I mean, what's the application?
I'm thinking you're using that as a B camera, I don't know. What is the application?
We were talking about maybe the possibility of weddings.
That makes a lot of sense. You got a wedding. You could have 2, but this is not. Like I say, you could have 2 or 3 of these. This is not cheap. It's like $6,000 setup time. They put the focus on it and everything else. You're running the focus. It's not like it's an infinite focus. It's not a GoPro.
Yeah.
It's a camera. So.
I gotta go play with one. I'm gonna go play with one.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out.
But I would love to go take a look at some footage and see if it's like
that's the thing.
Better than like a crunchy DSLR shot, and if it's gonna be something worth taking a look at. ARRI is getting in the stabilization game, which is very.
Oh, I'm sure it's cheap too.
Oh yeah. Like only $200,000 or $300,000.
Yeah, exactly.
ARRI,
but it's an ARRI.
But I mean, you got to see this thing. So they have basically a gimbal stabilizer on top of a Steadicam rig, and they have. I mean, over in their booth they had an Alexa XT on top of one and an Alexa Mini set up on one. So they have different sizes, but basically, you're going to be able to put your massive camera rigs up on one of these guys. And I mean, it was impressive. It has a pendulum swing on the bottom of the sled, so that as you rotate it around from standard to low mode, the pendulum actually adjusts for the weight.
So you can just go automatically from.
You never have to take it off and readjust for a different mode. So I think it's just built for speed, right?
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
What's the reason?
I have no idea.
In that world, maybe they didn't like what was out there. Maybe they didn't like the way it was working.
But they bought a company. They bought another company and then just adapted it, and put their sticker on it, and probably charged 25% more. So.
Well, it becomes that's the whole world that ARRI's been in forever, and that's the rental world. You're going to have that in rental houses for high-end productions.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll be able to buy them, but they won't be cheap. My guess is $100,000+.
Really? Mm-hmm. You really think that much?
I think so.
Oh.
Yeah, you buy a Pro Steadicam setup, and they're probably $80,000-$90,000. And so if they're going to take that gimbal stabilizer, put the ARRI name on it, sell it to their super high-end clients, then I think they'll. But look, if you're a Steadicam op and you're anything worthwhile at all, you're going to be charging at least $2,000 a day for
Yeah.
you and your setup. So, I mean,
And you'll be billing that out. Yeah, there's no doubt.
yeah,
So,
you work 100 days and you've doubled your money.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
you mentioned something, I didn't see it, but you mentioned about storage at
yeah, Lacie.
Lacie, yeah, had
So
a big storage.
over Lacie, they have a 12-bay storage unit that has both USB-C and 2 Thunderbolt ports.
And 2 Thunderbolt, that's perfect.
Yeah, so up to 96 terabytes with those 8 terabyte drives, 12. I mean, that is so either RAID 5 or 6 compatible at this moment. There was no word.
96 terabytes?
96 terabytes. You could do
I'm
on
thinking
this,
to
on this
myself
one
what
unit.
I've got going.
You have probably.
I have very close to that.
If
On
not
like
96.
all different drives.
Yeah,
I got
right.
a whole shelf of drives.
Wouldn't it be great if you just had
It'd be
one
fabulous.
tower?
Well, I need to get into a system, a rack system, but something like that would be a great. I wonder what that goes for.
Well, what's the 6-bay? They have a 6-bay, and I'm not sure what the
They're
price is on that.
usually 6 bays are usually around with the drives. You can get them around $2,000, I think.
Okay, so double that. Let's just start there. See if like $4,000. But for 96 terabytes, if it is $4,000, don't quote me on that. But if it is,
I'm there.
I'm there. Dude.
I would take it.
96 terabytes. Even the RAID configuration, but you don't have to do a one-to-one. So you're not copying 6 drives to 6 drives. You can.
Although $2,000 will get you about 12 terabytes of space. So a five bay and the drives, that only gets you about 12.
Oh, okay.
So this is going to be more.
Yeah.
The box is going to cost something. Then you got to buy the drives.
Yeah.
Now the drives. I put 6 terabyte drives in mine all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I look at 3 terabytes and I'm going,
Yeah.
throw that thing out.
Yeah.
Get a
absolutely.
real drive in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So it'll be interesting. I'm curious to see what the price is when it comes out and see if it's going to be cost effective. I love the idea though. Just one place. I plug it in and it's just all there. All my information's there. 96 terabytes worth of information. Well, if you do a RAID configuration, probably 70 terabytes.
But if you have one, you have to have
2
because you got to back it up to another source.
Well, that's
the drives can fail, but the computers can fail too.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, so just because it's on that one drive, I'm paranoid. I have them on mirrored, so I've got to have them in 2 places. And then, what if your place burns down? You got to have them. I'm doing a whole series on.
Are you
workflow.
uploading all your stuff too to like?
Well, we've talked about this in the past.
Backfire
I
as
put
well?
on backfire. So it'd be like 10 years to get it back.
Are you still going?
No,
Is it going right now?
It stopped at one point, and I need to get back and re-get that going because it was working. It was working. It was better than nothing,
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
and
sure.
back it up from your most current things to your old because you're more likely to have information you got to have in the most current files and projects
interesting.
you're using. So start backing up from current to older files because you're less likely to need the older stuff. It'll be less of an issue if you lose it,
Gotcha. That's good. Good to know.
So, anyway, I'm going to do a whole series with Lacie. Lacie, I always say it wrong.
Let's see. It's
Lacie.
Lacie. I asked officially, and they said
Lacie, okay.
Lacie.
I'm doing a whole series with Lacie on the workflow process in the field, using the rugged drives to your backup in the studio. So
Actually, I was at the booth, and there was a guy next to me, and he was an older gentleman, and he was asking. He asked the official
How old
question.
was he?
He's probably your age.
Thanks.
But I kind of recognize I'm sitting there, and he's going. So how do you pronounce it officially? Lacie. But it turns out it's Dale. I can't remember his last name. The guy that wrote Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, and my cousin Vinny. But he's like, he wrote all these, and I was looking at him going, I know this guy, and I looked up afterwards, and I was like, great. So
that's good.
Yeah.
All those people are here. It's NAB. It's
NAB.
This is the place.
Yeah.
Figure out what's going on in the industry.
Yeah.
Anything else interesting?
Red didn't come out with any new cameras,
Nothing?
just a couple of new accessories, a handle, a couple different things. I mean, it wasn't very exciting. I went to their booth, and they had like different companies. There was a whole bunch of different companies with products that have worked with Red, and that was like their display. So it was a little interesting. Blackmagic Design came out with 2 new monitors. They have a 7-inch 4K display, so you can record internally now. It's like $895 for the monitor. Shipping today, which is great. Atomos came out with a couple new things. So they have software now with HDR design, so that you can basically if you're looking at a flat image, or if you're looking at an image that's overexposed or whatever, you can expand the dynamic range, so you can see now your shadows, your highlights much clearer, which is nice. And then they also came out with the Inferno. So,
oh yes, I
Shogun
heard it.
Inferno. So they don't have it on display here,
Okay.
but it's basically, it can record 4K at 60 frames a second, and it's got quad-link SDI. So
Oh.
if you need a little bit faster, better quality solutions, that'll be your go-to.
Versus
for that.
their Ninja is just HDMI.
Ninja is HDMI, and then the Shogun is SDI, but there's quad-link SDI now. So that's just a different platform to get more information across.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I've kind of been on a quest here to solve I want a 4K video camera setup, and I've kind of boiled it down to either the FS7, the Sony FS7, which is very interesting to me. I do like the Sony A7R2, which I have one of those now. I just got it, and I have not really shot anything with it.
Yeah,
I just got it.
Okay.
So, but I'm also very interested. I mean, I still look at the C300. I look at the C100. I'm looking for 4K, a very viable 4K solution to shoot like a documentary on.
So C100's out. C300 Mark I is out.
Yep.
So C300 Mark II is a beautiful documentary camera. It's beautiful. I mean, it's going to be reliable. It's compact. It's got a good look. It's 4K. You can use slow motion.
It's $15,000.
It's $16,000.
$16,000.
That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
So then your FS7, you're looking at like $8,500.
$8,500, yep.
And that's got a lot of the same features. Does it have the same look? I don't know.
You know, I should start doing these. We did the Ursa Mini versus the Alexa. I should look at the FS7 versus like the Raven that's coming out.
Oh, cool.
The FS7 versus
The C300.
the C300. I mean, it'd be a great thing for me. I'd like to see that and just see what does the picture look like. You know, because people say the Sony maybe looks
a little video-y.
a little more video.
Which, for if you're doing documentary is maybe not the worst thing, and if you're doing slow motion, then who cares?
Yeah.
You know, slow motion looks great no matter what you do. So I don't know. There's a lot of features about the FS7, and price being one of those main features that just makes it very appealing.
Well, you can get two. You can get two cameras, so you can do a two-camera interview for the same price as one. Although, you know what? I asked the guy.
Well, you can get two.
That's right, because you can. Hey, I asked he's just a young guy, college kid. Show me where you change the picture profiles or on the FS7. He's pushing buttons and looking through menus, and I think he just didn't know. But it looked. I'm going on the C300. Just push this button right here.
Toggle.
Toggle,
Yes,
So the menu system seems a little more complicated on the FS7.
It's a concern.
Yeah.
That's a concern.
I guess you figure it out, when you know your go-to places. And,
Yeah.
But and they did say, and that is true, that you can assign. There's several buttons on there that you can assign those hot keys to.
Yeah.
And so that would make that
I'm
set
sure
it
you
up
can
the way you
customize it,
want
yeah.
it to things you want to get to really quick. So
Yeah.
anyway, so there I am. I'm still stuck on. I got to make this decision before August. I start this documentary in August.
Wow.
And so I have to have it. It's time. It's time.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I may just get another A7R2 and
put audio attachment on it, and
do the Sony audio attachment.
My main issue with that is ND. So when I'm doing a documentary, I need internal NDs.
It's just so nice to flip
Just
that up
through
and down.
and 2, 4, 6 stops of ND.
It's really nice.
So, and the C300 even has, I think, 7 or 9 stops or something crazy like that. So, I mean, they're pretty great cameras.
Yeah.
Speaking of Canon, they announced an 18 to 80 servo lens. I don't know if you saw that.
Well, everyone's going to these PNG,
The ENG.
ENG type lenses. Or that seems to be the cool thing.
I mean,
that's coming out.
it is NAB. It's the National Association
that
of
would make sense, would it
Broadcasters.
not?
But so, I mean, I went and looked at it. The problem is, I was looking at a camera that had a 4,000 ISO. So it was plugged into a C100 Mark II, and they had to push the ISO to 4,000 in order to get like a decent image because it's a T-stop 4.4 constant aperture. So it's not fast at all. And so
not at all.
That's my problem. Is it's sharp. It's very sharp.
But when you're doing that, I mean, if we are talking that kind of news type world, shallow depth of field is not the goal.
It's not the goal, and it's still a Super 35 lens. So you're still going to get at 80 millimeters at 4.4 aperture a pretty decent depth of field. It'll be very akin to the 24 to 105 Canon lens. It's f4 because it actually would be an f4 because it's a t4.4. So it's about the same.
Yeah.
But it's just too slow for my needs.
Yeah.
That aperture is just not going to.
The aperture's not going to work.
So.
All right, anything else? I wish I had more exciting stuff to say.
I mean, I'm going through my. Obviously, there's new Panasonic
Hear
cameras.
the drones coming in. The bees are coming.
Yeah, it's true. Panasonic's got like 2 new 4K cameras. Sony announced a new 4K slow motion camera. Just shoots 4K at 480 frames a second. That's crazy. But that's pretty much it, man.
So there's NAB, photo video trends. I'm sure there's more exciting stuff here. We'll see more. We'll talk more about it in the blogs and things. But that's kind of our quick look at NAB for 2016. The Slanted Lens business coaching class is back. For those of you who didn't join us last time, you missed out. Has your business grown like you wanted it to? We'll help it grow. Get involved with us. It's time to go. Go to theslantedlens.com/business class and I'll help you grow your business. Today we're going to take some time and answer your questions. Questions have come in on all of our different lessons throughout the last month or so. So they're scattered throughout the lessons, but we're going to answer your questions and try to give you some insight and understanding. We may have insight. I don't know if it'll bring any understanding.
No, probably not. Let's give it a go.
Okay, so I just want to put a plug up front. We do have our workshop that's coming up here on the 30th here of April. We're shooting at a great vintage airplane museum. We're going to talk about how to combine strobes with sun. We're going to talk about how to shoot into that late day as the sun goes away and combine strobes into a setting sun. A lot of great things we're going to work on that day. Julian's going to be there. She's going to show some really simple retouching tips on taking the images and cleaning them up. We'll have great models there. It'll be a great experience. So let's jump into these here.
Cool.
Chadwick Gantz. I'm looking to fire 4 cameras at the same time so I can create a stereoscope GIF in Photoshop. What would I use to fire 4 or more cameras at the same exact time? I have no idea.
Really?
I really don't.
I don't either. There's a way, I know that they connect them somehow.
I should have researched this so I would have looked more intelligent on this subject, but I have no idea.
I don't either, honestly.
Well, I'll check that out, and there's got to be a way you can do it.
Daisy chain with a USB and then like fire button, computer.
Got to be.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you could even possibly do it through Canon's utility.
Yeah.
If you're on Canon cameras, or there's got to be a way to do it, and I mean people do it all the time.
Well, yeah. I mean you've seen ever since The Matrix, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They have all those cameras.
Yep. All right. Well, Gary King says, I don't understand the lack of love for the Sigma. It's meant to replace fast primes, and when paired with its little, what is that,
Bruv, maybe brother.
Brother, I guess you've got a f1.8, 18, 24, 35, 50, 85, and 100. It's a big deal. He goes on about having 35 and 50 covered. You got 40 and 45. There's Sigma are great lenses. There's absolutely no doubt about it. They're fabulous lenses.
They're sharp.
They're sharp. They're great
Mechanics
lenses.
are great.
We're just a lover of Tamron here, but we talk about Sigma on our Facebook and that all the time. So
I just didn't understand.
There's no lack of love for them
When you do a zoom series, you usually pick up where the last aperture left off, more or less. Ingenue even overlaps, right? So they had a 18 to 35. I expected maybe a 35 to 85, 1.8. That to me would.
So what they did 18 to 35,
50 to 100. So if you're gonna do 2 zooms, I would love to have seen. Give me a range from 18 to 85 without missing any focal length. Because I'm sorry, but 35 to 50, that's a very important focal length for a lot of people, especially if you're on zoom lenses. So that was my only thing. Just the focal range they decided to pick just was very strange to me. So, but yeah, I mean, great lens, no doubt about it.
High-speed sync from Jonah Bowens?
Yeah.
Why would you need more power when using high-speed sync? The reality of high-speed sync is when you set your strobes on high-speed sync, it kills the power output. It really does. And the faster you can sync with your shutter speed, the less power you're getting out of your strobe. So if you do it, it's just you need power when you do high-speed sync. That is a problem with high-speed sync. And it's just by virtue of the mechanics, the electronics, that's what you get. Every platform I've ever used high-speed sync on, when you switch to high-speed sync, you lose a significant amount of power.
Well, okay.
But you're also gaining a significant amount of control, so you're kind of balancing those two worlds. So basically, it's a one-line setup.
So Stan Paul said, where do you get the round ball to test the lighting for headshots?
Oddly enough, I got
ball
that.
What are you talking about?
I use this round ball to teach light.
Oh, okay.
The highlight, the shadow side, the core. Yep. I do that stuff. In fact, I have a whole series of these coming out on the channel called The Laws of Light that'll be coming out. An ode to Charlie Potts at Art Center College of Design.
Yep. That's awesome.
But anyway, the ball, when I'm teaching, it's just from Studio Specialties. It's a round Christmas ball from Studio Specialties, and I painted it white. It's usually silver, so you can get them at Studio Specialty or I think it's called Studio Specialties.
Okay.
Yeah, they do window dressings and all kinds of stuff for stores, but it's a great resource to get anything from fake trees, and I mean, there's great stuff at Studio Specialties. So Michael Shettle?
Shetty.
Okay.
Shettle.
What ball head is that with the pistol grip on the side like that, and how do you like it? That is made by Vanguard, and it's a pistol grip. You grip on the side. It's a great. It's a great grip. There's also one made by Manfrotto, which I like as well. It's a fabulous grip. They get loose a little bit, so you have to keep tightening them. That's one of the downfalls. They also break, kind of, not like every week or anything, you know, but I've had them break. But I love them. I love that. It's fast for stills. I think
every
they're
photo
a dream.
shoot you're on.
All right, so going on.
Shooting at sunset, Delta Fit said, when you start to get those long exposures, like 1 to 2 seconds, rather than risk movement from the model, could you use second or rear curtain sync on your flashes?
You know, the principle is the same, whether it's your flashes up front or it flashes at the end. It's that the person can move a little bit, and they create a matte against the background, and then wherever they're at is when the strobe goes off is where the image is. So if they move, whether it's rear curtain or front curtain, it's still going to cause the same problem.
Gotcha.
It's not going to solve the problem.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about this at length in our workshop on April 30th. If you're interested in figuring out strobes and the setting sun and working with strobes in that kind of situation, you should join us. So.
Basics of slow motion. Zori Media said, what kind of light do you need to shoot slow motion in order to avoid blinking? What does she mean by blinking?
Well, if you're she's thinking about strobing in as you're shooting, you know, like you get a roll. I'm thinking computers here.
Oh, maybe she means flicker.
Yeah, I think she's thinking flicker.
She might mean flicker. Flicker, I mean, honestly, you just have to play with your shutter speed in order to avoid certain types of flicker. That's just some lights because they don't need to worry about slow motion for our human eyes. That's how they get electricity, is they create flicker.
If you're looking at a computer and it's flickering, I usually go to like a 60th of a second. Sometimes that cleans it up.
Yeah, sometimes
a little
it does.
bit, you know.
You just change your shutter speed a little bit. Try to remember that you want to get as close to double the frame rate as possible on your shutter in order to get a
so you don't want to go to 500th of a second or something. You're going to get something really weird.
Well, it depends on what your shutter frame is, or what your frame rate is. But yeah, play around with that. You should be able to find something.
Okay, learning how to feather softboxes. Michael Cothran?
Cothran.
I have a home studio with a white ceiling, 9 foot, 10 foot high. My concern about light splitting from aiming the light spill from aiming the softbox towards the ceiling, plus any wall space above the seamless, presuming that the softbox is 6 to 8 foot high, it seems like you would encounter quite a lot of unwanted light spill bouncing back down from the ceiling. Okay, just make it more simple here. In this video, I talked about you can feather the softbox away and up from a person. Just use the corner of that area of coverage, and it gives you a nice vignette on the person. It's a really pretty fall off and it looks gorgeous, but you are tilting your light up and away. So if you've got a low ceiling, you now just created a fill light in your low ceiling. I showed it mostly outside and use that, and it works very well outside because light's just going off into nowhere and doesn't make any difference. Inside, I would absolutely use a grid on your softbox. It creates the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Also, if you're in a room that's just all white walls, hang a black curtain on one wall. You know, hang a curtain on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Can't hang a curtain on the ceiling, can you? Paint the ceiling black. Do something.
Tape.
I mean, it's just create some control. And in a home studio, I would create just some nice looking curtains you could just pull across or close just to be able to give yourself more light control, because in a small confined white space, bounce is a huge issue, and you can create some control by just closing those curtains, and then you can actually use it as a fill source. Start to open that curtain up a little bit, it'll bounce some light back in, and you have some control of your image. So
great. Product review, Light Blaster.
Love the Light Blaster. I just used it out of Sony all day, and it was fabulous.
Awesome.
It really was.
Cool.
Yeah.
Mark Kuhn said, JP, I see that there is an adapter now that lets you use the Light Blaster with studio strobes. Have you tried that out? If so, did it work with modeling lights? Thanks.
I just, funny enough, on Friday night, so 3 or 4 days ago, put my Light Blaster up with the studio strobe head, so it was a Dynalite head, with the modeling light on, and was proceeding to try to take images, and looking at it was starting to come together and looking nice, and then I smelled something burning.
Oh.
And I ran over there and it melted my light blaster. Completely melted it. So I learned something from that.
Yeah?
They do not work with modeling lights on.
Okay.
That would be my suggestion.
Okay.
Do not turn the modeling light on.
I learned a thing or two.
Yes, I did. So, but I love the light blaster. It's a great, it projects an image.
Okay.
So you put a lens on it,
Yeah.
an EF mount lens, and you project whatever you put in the slide you put in the light blaster onto the background.
What?
So it's just fabulous. For doing stills, it's wonderful. It's not a continuous light application. It's a strobe application. When the strobe goes off, it throws it up on the wall, and it's just great.
Nice.
Okay, 8 questions to ask before estimating a photo shoot.
Samaranda
video?
Yeah.
Hi Jay, I have a question. So you mentioned the comparison between Coke and Ted sodas when deciding how to charge. This means that your rate, I love Ted soda. Yeah. This means that your rate as a photographer, your fee directly as a photographer without considering the production costs and extras differs through different clients. Or do you have a set rate, set daily rate, for example? Yeah, it absolutely varies. If I'm shooting for Coca-Cola and it's going to be a national campaign, that's going to be a much different fee than if I'm doing something for a trade publication for a small company that's going to run a few publications.
Yep.
I mean, you're not going to be in the same world. You know, if you're doing Coca-Cola national fee, you're going to be into a fee that's like $8,000 or $10,000 a day plus usage. If you're shooting for some small company who's doing, you're going to be, $2,000. It's just a much different world. So yes, that fee's got to change.
Yep.
It really does. It will be. You'll make adjustments for the client. It's not an arbitrary thing. It's just a matter of how much usage are they going to get out of it. If you take my business class, sign up for my business coaching class. I go through this usage process, how to be able to make these determinations, how to be able to understand how to charge, and that's one of the things we talk about a lot. And so check that out. You go to theslantedlens.com, you can pick that up there, and it's very useful.
Nice. Rabah El Helaj said, "Hey, thanks for this very nice video." This is about shooting a documentary. Yeah, hey, thanks for this very nice video. Please, can you tell me if it's possible to shoot a short documentary by just using a GoPro with mic, stabilizer, etc.? What about the quality? Is it going to be as professional as yours in the video? Nope.
Nope.
Can't
be. I mean, it's just a small camera.
Well, it's just the point of view.
Yeah.
It's
just
like
wide angle.
You have documentaries. You have to get a little bit creative in perspective, I think, and having more than one focal length is part of that. And not just one focal length. You could probably shoot a documentary on a 35 or a 50 and shoot the whole thing on that, and you'd probably be okay. But the GoPro is such a unique 160-degree field of view perspective that it would just be like watching for a shooter perspective video game.
Did you see the new film that's coming out?
Hardcore Henry.
Hardcore Henry. I think that's hilarious.
I want to see it.
I do too. I mean, I think gamers, especially that whole.
It didn't get the greatest reviews because it's like nauseating.
Oh,
that's what everybody said.
I'm going to throw up.
Yeah.
Hardcore Henry is killing me.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, so balancing strobes with a setting sun. How are you focusing with the sun backlight and lowering light? I've been shooting portraits at sunset with high-speed sync flash photography, speed lights as key and kicker through to dusk and night, and the autofocus feature becomes very inconsistent with the bright sun in the shot as it sets and when the light gets low. Is manual focus the only solution? This is a great subject that we will cover in our workshop on April 30th. I don't know where you're from, but come and join us. We'll talk about this whole process of shooting into that sunset in our workshop on April 30th. So go to the Slanted Lens, you can sign up there. But the reality is, when the sun is going down, you should, if you move your focus point around on your camera, you should be able to pick up the person's face, and it should work seamlessly, even into sunset. Shouldn't be a problem. I've never had that problem. Now, if your focus point's in the background, you're gonna have a major problem all the time. So that's something you can overcome. And quite frankly, get your focus. I do this when I'm focusing. I've got old eyes, but I will sometimes go switch to video mode, and I'll punch in and do a critical focus and then shoot.
Cool.
So,
all right.
Whoa, is that the last one?
That's the last one.
That's the last one. Oh, that's great. I was having too much fun. I don't want to stop now. Hey, we appreciate your comments, and we really want to try to answer as many of them as possible. So keep making those comments and sending them in, and we will compile them and answer them each month on photo video trends.
Keep those cameras rolling and keep on clicking.
Keep on clicking. We're giving away $1,000 worth of spider holster equipment over at theslenlens.com. Everything from single camera systems to digital card holders to lens holders to straps. So get over to theslenlens.com and sign up today.